The modern internet experience begins with a lie, and you tell it several dozen times a day. You arrive at a website, hungry for information or a quick distraction, and a massive colorful banner blocks your path. It asks for your consent to use cookies to enhance your experience. And without a second thought, you click that big bright button labeled Accept All. You didn't read the fine print. You didn't check the settings, and you certainly didn't feel enhanced. You just wanted the digital flypaper to stop sticking to your face so you could read a 3-minute article. In that single, mindless microsecond, you have potentially handed over your digital identity to a dozen companies you have never heard of. Statistically, the average internet user encounters more than 100 of these consent banners every single month. If you actually stopped to read the terms and conditions of every site you visited, you would spend roughly 250 hours a year just reading legalese. That is more than 10 full days of your life spent staring at privacy policies written by lawyers for other lawyers. Tech companies know this, and they count on your exhaustion. They have turned consent into a chore, and in the process, they have turned the fundamental architecture of the web into a global surveillance network. The shiny advertising promised us a world of connectivity and convenience, a digital utopia where everything is at our fingertips. The reality is a landscape of dark patterns and psychological traps designed to strip mine your behavior for profit. Behind every Accept All button is a complex machinery of tracking and data brokering that would make the Cold War intelligence agencies weep with envy. You are the victim of a system that views your privacy as an obstacle to be bypassed by clever interface design. But to understand how we got here, we have to understand what a cookie actually is, and why the internet was broken before they existed. Imagine walking into your favorite neighborhood coffee shop every single morning. In a normal world, the barista recognizes your face, remembers your name, and knows you like a double shot of espresso with a splash of oat milk. You don't have to reintroduce yourself every time you step through the door. The internet, by default, is the exact opposite of that friendly coffee shop. The web runs on a protocol called HTTP, which is technically described as stateless. This means every time you click a link or refresh a page, the server forgets who you are entirely. To a web server, every request is like a brand new interaction with a complete stranger who has total amnesia. If you put an item in a shopping cart on page 1, by the time you click over to page 2, the website has already forgotten you exist and your cart is empty. In the early days of the web, this made the internet a very frustrating place for anything more complex than reading text. There was no such thing as staying logged in, and there was no such thing as a persistent shopping experience. The digital world had no memory, and therefore it had no soul. In the year 1994, a young engineer at Netscape named Lou Montulli decided to fix this amnesia. He needed a way for a website to remember a user just state without placing a massive burden on the server. His solution was remarkably simple and elegant. He created a small file that a website could send to your browser. Your browser would store this file and then send it back to the website every time you made a new request. This little piece of data acted like a digital claim check or a coachroom ticket. He called this technology a cookie, a term borrowed from an older computing concept known as a magic cookie. In the world of programming, a magic cookie was just a token passed between programs to verify identity. It was a utilitarian tool designed for a utilitarian web. In the early 90s, no one was thinking about global tracking or behavioral profiles. They just wanted to make sure that if you put a book in your digital basket, it was still there when you went to the checkout counter. The cookie gave the internet a memory, and for a short time, that memory was used for good. The metaphor of the cookie is often compared to the trail of breadcrumbs in the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel. You leave a trail of digital crumbs so you can find your way back to where you were, or so the website can recognize you when you return. However, in the fairy tale, the breadcrumbs were meant to help the children get home. In the modern web, the breadcrumbs are being used by the witch to follow the children back to their house. What started as a way to keep your shopping cart full has evolved into a way to keep your digital life under a microscope. There are two main species of cookies in the digital wild, and it is vital that you understand the difference. The first species is the first-party cookie. These are the ones created by the website you are actually visiting. They handle the heavy lifting of the modern web, like keeping you logged into your email or remembering that you prefer the dark mode setting. These cookies stay on the site where they were born. They are generally the good guys, the digital baristas who remember your coffee order. Without them, the internet would be a repetitive, frustrating nightmare of passwords and resets. The second species is the third-party cookie, and this is where the villain enters the story. These cookies are not created by the website you are looking at. Instead, they are planted there by external actors, usually advertising networks, social media giants, or analytics firms. When you visit a news site, that site might have a dozen invisible trackers from companies like Google or Meta. These third-party cookies don't care about your shopping cart on that specific site. They are there to tag you like a wild animal in a nature documentary. Once a third-party cookie is placed in your browser, it follows you. If you go from a news site to a travel blog and then to a weather app, the same tracking cookie reports back to the mothership. It whispers to the advertising servers that you were just looking at flights to Hawaii and articles about hiking boots. Suddenly, your entire digital experience is haunted by advertisements for Hawaiian resorts and waterproof footwear. The villain in this story isn't just one company. It is an entire economic ecosystem built on the premise that your privacy is a commodity to be traded. From an economic perspective, tech companies act this way because data is the most valuable currency of the 21st century. In a world where services are offered for free, your attention is the product and your data is the raw material. Advertisers are willing to pay a premium for a high-resolution portrait of your desires, your fears, and your habits. A simple advertisement shown to a random person is worth pennies. An advertisement for life insurance shown to someone who just searched for heart health symptoms is worth dollars. The incentive to track you is measured in billions of dollars. This financial pressure has led to the creation of the cookie wall. Some websites are so desperate for your tracking data that they will refuse to show you any content unless you agree to their terms. They present you with a choice that isn't really a choice. Give us your data or go away. It is a digital shakedown. Even when they give you a button to reject cookies, they often make it as difficult as possible to find. They hide the reject button in submenus or use pale gray text on a white background, a psychological trick designed to steer you toward the path of least resistance. These tricks are known as dark patterns. They are the intentional design of user interfaces to manipulate you into making decisions that are in the company's interest but not your own. The tech giants hire the best psychologists and designers in the world to find ways to exploit the flaws in human cognition. They know you are tired. They know you are in a hurry. They know that if they make the reject button take 3 clicks instead of 1, 90% of people will simply give up and click accept all. They are betting on your convenience-fueled surrender. In the year 2018, the European Union tried to fight back with the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. This law was supposed to be the great shield of the digital age, requiring websites to get clear and informed consent before tracking users. It is the reason why every website you visit now has a pop-up banner. However, the law had an unintended side effect. Instead of stopping the tracking, it simply forced companies to get better at lying about it. The regulation created a surge of banner fatigue, where users became so annoyed by the constant interruptions that they started clicking accept all even faster than before. The rise of these regulations proved that legal frameworks struggle to keep up with the speed of code. While regulators were debating definitions of personal data, the tracking industry was already moving on to even more invasive techniques like browser fingerprinting. Fingerprinting doesn't even need a cookie to track you. It simply looks at the unique combination of your screen resolution, your installed fonts, and your battery level to create a digital signature that is unique to your device. The villains are always one step ahead because their bottom line depends on it. So, how do you survive in a digital landscape that is rigged against you? You cannot simply stop using the internet, but you can change the rules of the engagement. The first step is to recognize that your current browser might be an informant. Browsers like Google Chrome are built by companies that make their money from advertising. Expecting Chrome to protect your privacy is like expecting a wolf to guard the sheep. It might look professional, but its loyalties are clear. One of the most effective ways to protect your wallet and your soul is to switch to a privacy-focused browser. Options like Brave or Firefox Focus are built with tracking protection as a core feature rather than an afterthought. These browsers automatically block third-party cookies and script-based trackers before they even have a chance to load. They don't ask you for permission to protect you. They just do it. When you use these tools, the internet actually gets faster because your computer isn't wasting energy loading 100 invisible spy programs. You can also look into browser extensions designed to declutter the web and kill the cookie pop-ups entirely. Tools like uBlock Origin or I Still Do and Care About Cookies can automate the rejection process for you. They act as a digital bodyguard, standing between you and the banners, making the privacy decisions you are too tired to make yourself. By taking these small technical steps, you are effectively opting out of the data mining economy. You are telling the tech giants that your behavior is not for sale. Understanding the double-edged nature of the cookie is essential for any modern citizen. On one hand, cookies are the reason the web is usable, allowing for personalization and persistent sessions. On the other hand, they are the tools of a surveillance capitalism that seeks to turn your every click into a data point. The conflict between convenience and privacy is the defining struggle of our time. Every time you see a cookie banner, you are standing at a crossroads between being a user and being a product. But you have the power to break the cycle. You can choose to be an informed participant in the digital world rather than a victim of its design. The next time you see a pop-up asking for your consent, take a second to realize what is actually being asked. It isn't just about a small file on your computer. It's about who owns your digital history. By choosing better tools and being more conscious of your clicks, you are reclaiming a small part of your autonomy in an increasingly automated world. If you found this deep dive into the digital underworld valuable, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are committed to stripping away the marketing fluff and showing you the raw mechanics of the world we live in. We help you protect your privacy, your wallet, and your mind from the systems designed to exploit them. Knowledge is the only real defense in a world of dark patterns and silent trackers.